Hi everyone. This is an optional video for those of you who might be struggling with this classwork. So feel free to watch this if you are stuck somewhere in this classwork, and go ahead and do the classwork independently if you are all set. All right, first question is, what is the law of conservation of energy? This you can find in a couple of previous videos, and it should be in your notes, so I'm not going to help you with that one. And then what are some different types of energy that can be transformed? Think of all the different energies that we've learned about. For example, kinetic. So what are some other energy types that we have learned? And you should also include sound and heat in there, because that will come up later. Okay, number 3 is a bit more challenging. So you go up to the roof of CCSC with a textbook. When you hold the book up on the roof, it has 200 joules of potential energy. You're holding it still so it doesn't have any kinetic energy. As it falls, for a moment it has 200 joules of kinetic energy, but then it hits the pavement with a bang, and suddenly it has 0 joules of kinetic energy and 0 joules of potential energy. That means that 200 joules of energy are missing. Was 200 joules of energy destroyed? Explain your answer in a claim evidence reasoning. So in this case, keep in mind the law of conservation of energy. The question is, was 200 joules of energy destroyed? That's impossible because the law of conservation of energy says that energy cannot be created and it can't be destroyed. So the answer to this is definitely no, it was not destroyed. And the question is, then what happened to it? So one piece of evidence could be about the law of conservation of energy. We know that since the law of conservation of energy says that energy cannot be destroyed, this energy was not destroyed. And then let's think about what might have happened to that energy when this book fell. If you drop something, especially from a really high height, and especially if it's bigger, it's going to make a sound. And sound is a type of energy. It's also probably going to cause a little bit of heat just because there's a little friction when it hits the ground. So those 200 joules of energy that seem to be missing were transformed into sound and heat energy. So you can write a paragraph about that. All right, and then this part we haven't done before, so I wanted to make sure we touch on this. All right, so number 4, an object has a potential energy of 600 joules and a kinetic energy of 300 joules. What is the total energy? And then this hint says add together its potential and kinetic energy. So when we're talking about total energy, we're adding up all the energy that we know about for this particular object. So it has potential energy 600 and kinetic energy 300. So we're going to write 600 joules plus 300 joules equals, and then you can hopefully do that one in your head. If you need a calculator, that's always fine. That is 900 joules. An object isn't moving and has potential energy of 7,000 joules. What is its total energy? So this is a very similar problem to the one above. And this also gives us a hint. If it isn't moving, it doesn't have kinetic energy. So its kinetic energy is 0 joules. So it has 7,000 joules of potential energy and 0 joules of kinetic energy. So remember, to find that total energy, we're going to add those two together. 7,000 joules plus 0 joules, and of course you can find the answer to that. And then I'll let you try this number 6 on your own. Okay, I think that's all that you, that should be enough to get you started. If you're struggling a little bit with these multiple choice, do your best, and we can go over them in class. All right, good luck.